Have you ever felt like there's a constant argument happening inside your head?
Oh, definitely.
You know,
Really?
one part of you wants to achieve something and another part just, well, it gets in the way.
Yeah.
Whether it's trying to learn a new skill, push through a tough project, or, I don't know, even just make a healthy choice, that internal friction can feel like the biggest obstacle. It's almost like our true potential is right there, but something from within keeps blocking it.
That feeling is precisely what W. Timothy Galway, a truly visionary pioneer, illuminated decades ago. He first saw this kind of revolutionary truth actually on a tennis court.
Right, the tennis connection.
Yeah, realizing that the real game wasn't just against the opponent across the net, but, the one playing inside your own mind.
And that's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to explore Galway's really profound inner game philosophy. We want to show you how his insights can radically transform not just performance and learning, but your whole sense of well-being.
In pretty much all areas of life.
Exactly. From sports to the digital world, we're aiming to give you a shortcut, sort of, to mastering your inner landscape. So let's unpack this. Okay, so at the very heart of Galway's inner game is this truly fascinating idea, the duality within us, what he calls self-one and self-two.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just take a moment and think about the voices in your own head right now. You know the ones, the commentators.
Yeah, the running commentary. And it's here that Galway offers this brilliant distinction. Self-one, that's your conscious mind. Critical, judgmental, always instructing.
The chatterbox.
Totally. It's that incessant chatterer, the worrier, the part telling you what you should be doing or criticizing what you just did.
Right.
And this voice, I mean, it often means well, but it frequently creates tension.
Yeah.
It hinders your natural ability. Think of it like an overzealous coach inside your head, just constantly barking orders and critiques.
Okay, so that's self-one. And then there's self-two, the part that, well, just does things.
Precisely.
Mhm.
Self-two is your natural, intuitive, performing self. It's your body's innate wisdom, your subconscious mind. It's the part that functions effortlessly when you're really in the zone, whether you're walking, driving, even just having a natural conversation like this one.
Okay.
The core conflict, Galway points out, is that self-one's constant interference inhibits self-two.
Ah.
The more self-one tries to control, the more self-two gets sort of constrained. And that leads to frustration, underperformance.
So that's why we have those bad days?
Often, yeah.
The...
It's not necessarily about lacking skill, it's just self-one getting in its own way.
Mm-hmm.
So mastery isn't just about gaining ability, it's about removing that internal noise that obscures the brilliance you actually already have.
Okay, so self-one is the inner critic. What's the counterbalance then? Are we just stuck with the chatter?
Yeah.
This leads us to the path to effortless mastery. Galway calls it relaxed concentration. And that sounds like a paradox, right? Effortlessness born from deep engagement.
It really is a paradox.
Mm-hmm.
Relaxed concentration is this state where your mind is engaged but calm, focused yet, free from tension.
How do you get there?
Well, you don't achieve it by trying harder, that just feeds self-one.
Right, makes sense.
Instead, it's through a profound trust in self-two's inherent ability. It involves directing your attention not to how to do something which self-one loves to pick apart, but to what is happening, or maybe where your focus should be.
Can you give an example?
Sure, like instead of telling yourself in golf, keep your arm straight, swing smoothly, you might focus just on the sound the club makes hitting the ball, or the feel of your feet on the grass.
I love that. It's like riding a bike. You don't consciously tell each leg, pedal now. You just ride.
Exactly.
So the key is observing without judgment, allowing without interfering, and really trusting the body's innate wisdom.
And this leads us to two really key practices for unlocking that potential. First, observing without judgment.
Okay.
This means becoming like an impartial observer of your own actions. You don't label them good or bad. If your hand slips pouring coffee, you just note the slip.
Instead of, oh, I'm so clumsy.
Right, you just note it. This detached observation lets self-two learn and adjust organically without being burdened by that fear of failure.
Okay, don't judge sounds easy, but how do you actually train self-one to just observe? That seems hard.
It definitely takes practice, and it ties into the second principle,
Right.
externalizing attention.
Generalizing. Okay.
I mean, self-one loves pulling your focus inward, dwelling on anxieties, past mistakes, future worries, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Galway teaches us to shift that focus outwards onto concrete, external cues related to the task itself.
Like the golf example, the sound, the feel.
Exactly. Or if you're walking across a busy street, self-one might be worrying about traffic or being late. But if you focus on the sound of the cars, the rhythm of your steps, the specific colors you see, You draw attention away from that internal static towards the immediate reality.
Right, grounding yourself in the external. And this all boils down to Galway's simple but really profound performance equation. Performance equals potential minus interference. P equals PI.
That's it.
Yeah.
And the crucial insight there is that interference covers everything that hinders performance. Lapses in concentration, nervousness, self-doubt, self-condemnation.
Oh, our self-one stuff.
Consistently, yes. All attributed to self-one's judgmental, controlling nature. So what this really means for you listening right now is that true mastery isn't about adding more effort or skill necessarily. It's often about subtracting the internal noise.
Quieting self-one.
If you can quiet self-one, your inherent potential, your self-two, is just naturally unleashed.
It's fascinating to trace these universal truths back to where they started. A simple tennis court in the 70s. W. Timothy Galway's foundational work, The Inner Game of Tennis.
1974, right?
1974. This book introduced the world to that revolutionary idea, the outer game against an opponent, and the much more crucial inner game against yourself.
And its impact was just huge. It sold millions of copies. And it really transcended sports. I mean, Bill Gates himself called it the best guide to getting out of your own way.
Wow, Bill Gates.
Yeah. And he said it was applicable to many other parts of life.
Yeah.
You can almost see its principles in action in athletes like, say, Roger Federer. You know, that remarkable calm under pressure.
Absolutely. That focus.
The book's table of contents alone gives you a sense of its depth. Discovering the two selves, quieting self-one, trusting self-two, learning to focus, even redefining competition so that no person is defeated.
Which is a radical idea in itself. And from there, Galway didn't just stop at tennis, did he? He expanded these ideas.
He certainly did. Inner Skiing came out in '77, co-authored with Robert Kriegel.
Okay, skiing. How did it apply there?
Well, it delved deep into self-one as the controller, the part filled with overthinking, fear, comparison, tension, and self-two as the natural performer. Instinctive, effortless, joyful.
So the same dynamic.
Exactly. It explained how that gap between your best runs and your worst isn't usually about skill dropping off, but about that internal war self-one creates. It makes skiing feel like work.
I can picture that feeling.
Right. And breakthrough runs, they realized, happen when self-two takes over, when you're not thinking, just flowing down the mountain. The book gave practical strategies like using neutral language for awareness cues.
Instead of judging.
Exactly. Breath work for mental calm and cultivating that non-judgmental observation, kind of like how kids naturally learn to ski, you know, without all the baggage.
Yeah, I can almost see those skiers looking stiff and worried, over tight grips, self-doubt written all over them. It's so clear how that PEPI formula applies. Helping golfers, for instance, reduce interference by focusing on the feel of the swing, not the million critical thoughts.
And then the concepts translated beautifully to music. The Inner Game of Music, co-authored with Barry Green in 1986.
Music, okay, how?
It focused on overcoming nerves, performance anxiety, self-doubt, things that often plague musicians. It really highlighted the importance of awareness, will, and trust in artistic expression. It's pretty remarkable how a concept born in sports could apply so well to something as nuanced and personal as playing an instrument.
It truly is. And it wasn't just individuals. Top music schools like Juilliard, Berkeley, the Royal Academy of Music, they've actually integrated these principles.
That's right.
And big names, too, like Renee Fleming, Victor Wooten. They've recognized the value in achieving peak performance and, maybe more importantly, artistic freedom.
Yeah, that freedom is key. Then, by 1999, Galway brought these insights squarely into the corporate world with The Inner Game of Work.
Okay, the workplace.
This book was really the culmination of 2 decades of applying inner game methods in corporate settings, addressing those universal challenges. Fear of failure, procrastination, even burnout, or just plain boredom.
Things we all deal with.
Absolutely. It showed how these inner obstacles can just scorch potential and productivity in the workplace.
And here, he introduced that powerful work triangle, right? Performance, learning, and enjoyment.
Exactly. He emphasized that true success, sustainable success, comes when all 3 are in harmony. You perform with skill, you learn from every single experience, and you find genuine joy in the effort itself.
Which is often missing.
Too often. He also talked about mobility, not just physical movement, but consciously moving your mind and spirit towards your goals, keeping you aligned and energized. And he also introduced the SATAP tool. Remember that one? Step back, think, organize, proceed.
Ah, yes, SATAP. Simple but effective.
A really simple, powerful framework for conscious decision-making, problem-solving, like a compass when things feel uncertain. And what's really significant is that coaching pioneer John Whitmore,
The Juro model guy.
that's him. He openly stated that his famous Juro model, which is a cornerstone of modern coaching, was, quote, based on the method invented by Tim Galway.
Wow, that's huge influence.
It really shows how foundational Galway's work became in empowering people to find their own solutions, to unlock that inherent wisdom within.
So Galway kept expanding, moving beyond just performance metrics into, like, inner peace. His later work, The Inner Game of Stress from 2009, tackled stress directly using these principles, which feels incredibly relevant today.
Oh, absolutely. The book clearly explains how self-one's negativity, the self-talk, harsh judgments, endless worrying directly fuels feelings of helplessness and overwhelming stress.
It really does create that feeling.
Yeah. And Galway offered practical tools to sort of tame the stress beast.
Yeah.
He reiterated the STOP technique for making conscious choices under pressure, introduced the attitude tool, shifting from resentment to gratitude, the magic pen for accessing deeper intuition.
The magic pen. Intriguing.
Yeah, it's a journaling technique.
Yeah.
And he even revisited the PLE triangle, performance, learning, experience, but framed it for stress management, reminding us to cherish the learning and the richness of the experience, not just fixate on the outcome.
Which can take the pressure off. And this leads us to a seemingly paradoxical idea. Stillness as a form of, like, peak performance.
Right. Stillness isn't just absence of motion. It's a deep source of power. It's a gateway to flow states, creative breakthroughs, profound emotional clarity.
Okay.
And the key insight here is that self-one, the inner critic, isn't silenced by force. You can't wrestle it into submission. No. It's quieted by non-judgmental observation and deep presence. And what's fascinating is modern neuroscience actually backs this up.
How so?
During practices like meditation, the prefrontal cortex, the brain region,
Mm.
heavily associated with self-one's overthinking and judgment, actually quiets down.
Ah, it literally gets quieter up there.
Exactly. This allows the brain to shift into more relaxed creative states like alpha and theta waves, and it releases natural performance-enhancing neurochemicals, dopamine, norepinephrine, endorphins, even anandamide, the bliss molecule.
Wow. The science validates the intuition again.
Absolutely. And these principles apply broadly. Athletes use breathwork and visualization to calm nerves, enhance focus. Musicians use mantra or sensory focus to connect deeply. Leaders use mindful decision-making for greater clarity in complex situations.
So beyond performance, beyond stress, what game are we truly playing if it's not just for external metrics? It feels like Galway's philosophy ultimately points towards finding deeper meaning, becoming your most authentic self.
It really does. And a key insight here is how self-2 draws these fascinating parallels with concepts from existential philosophy. Things like freedom, authenticity, responsibility.
How does that connection work?
Well, self-one often echoes societal expectations, the shoulds and oughts, external conditioning. It judges our worth by external validation.
Right, what others think.
Exactly. But self-2 represents that inner truth, that authentic core. Galway suggests, much like existentialists, that true meaning isn't found out there, but is created through our choices, our authentic engagement with life, when self-2 is really steering the ship.
Okay. And are there practical tools for this kind of self-discovery?
Yes. Galway suggests things like non-judgmental journaling, kind of like Julia Cameron's morning pages, just letting self-2 speak freely without the filter. Also, awareness meditation, observing thoughts without getting swept away by them.
Yeah.
Value mapping to figure out what truly matters to you. Even engaging in conscious inner dialogue between self-1 and self-2.
Talking to yourself, basically, but constructively.
Sort of, yeah. And even life story rewriting, intentionally choosing the narrative you want to live by. It reframes things like an identity crisis, not as a breakdown, but maybe as a profound portal to awakening.
A chance to reset.
Exactly. It's about recognizing the radical freedom we have to reinvent ourselves, to choose what aligns with our inner compass, our self-2. And this is where self-2 could be understood almost as like a divine spark.
Divine spark. Tell me more.
Well, think about flow state, as defined by Mali Csikszentmihalyi, that peak state where action and awareness merge, time disappears, the inner critic just vanishes.
Yes, that feeling of being totally absorbed.
That's self-2 in charge.
Yeah.
Action becomes effortless, time dissolves. It has qualities like knowing without necessarily learning in the traditional sense, effortless action, a timeless presence, even unconditional self-acceptance, authentic expression.
And again, we see clear neurological signs in that state, right? Quieting the prefrontal cortex, those specific brain chemicals.
Precisely. And this idea of self-2 is this divine spark, this core of innate capability and wisdom. It resonates across so many different spiritual traditions.
Like which ones?
Oh, from the principles of Taoism and Zen Buddhism to insights from Ayurveda, Sufism, even elements within Christianity. It points to this universal human experience of connecting with something deeper, something essential within ourselves.
It's truly remarkable how Galway's Western insights, born on a tennis court, bridge so beautifully with ancient Eastern wisdom. It reveals these universal truths about the inner game.
It absolutely does. Take Taoism, for example, the concept of wu-wei effortless action.
Yes.
That perfectly embodies self-two's natural flow, accomplishing without forcing, without straining, and the dynamic balance of yin-yang that mirrors the interplay between self-one active, analytical, and self-two receptive, flowing.
Finding that balance.
Right. Practices like water meditation or just mindful walking, they help you cultivate that natural, unforced presence, letting self-two guide you.
Okay, and Zen Buddhism, how does
Yeah.
that connect?
Zen Buddhism offers mushin, or no mind, a state of pure awareness and action, totally free from conceptual thought.
That sounds like self too.
Exactly where self-two operates. And the beginner's mind, shoshin, is so crucial here, approaching each moment free from preconceptions, with fresh eyes, ready to learn, not judge.
Like that quote.
Right, the Shunryu Suzuki quote. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but in the expert's mind, there are few. It's about ditching the baggage of knowing.
So, clearing out the mental clutter that often comes with being an expert.
Precisely. And then you have Ayurveda, the ancient Indian science of life. It emphasizes Prakriti, your unique essential nature, your constitution.
Okay.
Self, too, your natural performer, thrives when you honor that unique nature. Understanding your individual energetic blueprint, your dominant dosha, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, can help you optimize your rhythms for work, rest, energy, allowing for more consistent peak performance naturally.
Tailoring things to your own nature.
Exactly. All these traditions consistently point to the same thing. Excellence comes from removing inner blocks, not just adding more external effort or technique. And it's also really compelling to see how Galway's concepts echo so powerfully in indigenous cultures worldwide.
How so?
Often self-one is seen metaphorically as the ego disconnected from nature, from community, while self-two is the embodied self, deeply in rhythm with ancestors, the land, the community. They often view flow not just as an individual state, but as fundamentally relational, emerging from connection.
That's a beautiful perspective, and I find it so insightful how ritual in that context becomes a kind of profound inner game training.
Absolutely.
Things like drumming, chanting, they effectively silence self-one, don't they? They train the body to natural rhythms. And ceremonial games like Lacrosse the Creator's Game, or even ancient games like the Mesoamerican ball game, they teach players to move with pure instinct, perfect timing.
It's like that saying, to play is to pray. To move is to remember. These games really act as inner game portals.
Can you give examples?
Sure. The Lahal or bone game found in many Native American cultures teaches deep intuition, trusting your gut. Indian relay racing, where riders leap between galloping horses, that demands incredible trust in oneself. The horse, the team.
Wow. Intense.
Yeah. And now neuroscience is even validating these ancient practices. Drumming synchronizes brainwaves, promotes focus. Rhythmic movement activates the vagus nerve, inducing calm alertness. It just shows how universal these principles are, rooted deep in human wisdom across cultures.
Oh, okay, let's pivot now to the modern world, specifically the digital frontier. It feels like we're in a constant battle with self-one in this age of notifications, endless scrolling. It's overwhelming.
It's so true. But the digital age, in many ways, has just amplified self-one, turned it into this digital tyrant constantly demanding external stimulation.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the stats. By 2025, the average American is projected to spend over 5 hours a day on their phone, tapping or swiping over 2,600 times daily.
That's staggering.
And get this, 72% of teenagers check their phones immediately upon waking, before their feet even hit the floor.
Wow. That's surrendering that crucial first moment of awareness, isn't it? Right when self, too, might have a chance.
Precisely. And the neurology of this digital interference, it's even more insidious. Studies show the mere presence of your smartphone nearby, even if you're not looking at it, can impair your focus almost as much as actively using it.
Really, just having it there.
Yeah, it's called the brain drain hypothesis. Your phone occupies limited cognitive resources just by being present, leaving less bandwidth for other tasks. And self-one becomes this kind of digital drug dealer through the dopamine trap of intermittent reinforcement.
Ah, the little hits from notifications.
Exactly. Each notification gives a micro hit, creating this addictive loop. And self-two's quiet wisdom, which needs stillness to emerge, often just gets buried under all that digital noise.
So how do we fight back? How do we reclaim our inner silence and get self-one off its digital high horse?
We have to consciously practice digital boundaries. This means things like notification sovereignty, ruthlessly disabling non-essential alerts, creating temporal sanctuaries, maybe dedicating your first hour awake to consciousness, not consumption.
Like a digital Sabbath hour.
Exactly. Or device-free evenings. Physical boundaries, too. No devices in the bedroom, at the dining table. We also need to practice radical self-silence,
What does that look like?
allowing ourselves to be consciously bored instead of immediately reaching for the phone. Seeking out solo time in nature, remembering what actual silence feels like.
And maybe the art of single tasking. Doing one thing, fully present.
Yes, that's huge.
Yeah.
And finally, mindful technology use. This means digital intention setting, pausing before picking up your phone to ask, what am I actually seeking right now?
Good question to ask.
The three-breath rule, before responding to emails or texts, can also help letting self-too inform the response, not just react. And curated consumption using apps like Forest or Headspace strategically, managing your digital diet instead of letting it consume you. Now, shifting gears a bit, the inner game of creation explores this really interesting new archetype, the Centaur creator.
Centaur creator, okay.
It's this hybrid of human intuition collaborating with machine intelligence, specifically AI.
Right.
The idea is AI doesn't replace self-too, it can actually amplify it, creating this dynamic dialogue between human insight and algorithmic possibility.
This is truly mind-bending. So we're seeing flow happen with algorithms.
In a way, yes. Think about neural networks like Deep Dream or DLAE, generating these surreal, unexpected images. They push visual boundaries. Musicians like Holly Herndon use AI to co-compose, blending human feeling with machine logic.
Yeah.
Writers use generative models for brainstorming. It becomes this dance of call and response. This points towards a kind of new intuition, where AI models, trained on massive data sets, can almost hallucinate or improvise in ways that feel surprisingly similar to human creative leaps. It challenges our assumptions about where creativity comes from.
So working with AI becomes like a duet. The machine offers ideas a human might never conceive of, free from ego or creative blocks.
Potentially, yeah. And Galway's principles translate here too. Trust self too might become trust the algorithm's generative output. Maybe explore where it leads. Non-judgmental awareness could become algorithmic empathy, understanding the machine's logic without immediately shutting it down.
We're moving into advanced ideas here, like prompt artistry, hybrid flow.
Exactly. And this also raises important ethical questions, of course. Is AI just a tool that self-one controls? Or is it a collaborator where self-two fosters this deeper algorithmic empathy? Galway's ideas nudge us to think about maintaining authentic expression in an AI-augmented world, developing ethical intuition alongside creative skill.
Okay, and finally, virtual flow. Virtual reality, VR, that seems like the most radical expansion of Galway's training philosophy, creating these perfect labs for consciousness.
VR offers truly safe spaces for experimentation, which is key for quieting self-one's fear. Imagine practicing complex surgery, or public speaking, or handling emergencies in VR without real-world consequences.
Takes the pressure right off.
It allows self-too to emerge unencumbered by fear. VR provides instant feedback, embodied learning through deep sensory immersion. And research is increasingly showing VR can genuinely enhance flow states and boost confidence self-efficacy that actually transfers powerfully to real-world situations.
The brain doesn't really distinguish between real practice and virtual practice when learning skills.
It seems not, at least in many contexts. And the neuroscience is fascinating. You see mirror neuron activation helping us learn by watching and doing virtually, stress inoculation practicing under pressure safely, embodied cognition learning physically through doing. It all builds real-world confidence.
So how do the inner game principles apply in VR?
Directly. Non-judgmental awareness becomes like digital mindfulness within the simulation. Relaxed concentration becomes immersive focus. Learning through experience leads to really accelerated integration of skills. You could even implement virtual flow rituals, breath work before going in, focused practice during, reflection afterwards, maybe some digital silence post-immersion.
And the applications are huge. Medical training, athletics, creative arts, education, empathy training.
The potential is enormous for training self-too in these controlled, feedback-rich environments. Well, dear listener, as we start to wrap up this deep dive, just remember that mastery isn't really a destination you arrive at. It's an ever-unfolding path.
Yeah.
What Galway unveiled, from those tennis courts to boardrooms to the quiet struggle with stress, it's this timeless truth. True mastery isn't just about external wins. It's about cultivating an internal state of balance, awareness, and that deep trust in self, too. It's a continuous, lifelong process.
It really is like your entire life becomes the court, the field, the living laboratory for practice, doesn't it?
Beautifully put.
Your morning routine can be a meditation in presence. Challenges become opportunities for growth. Your relationships, practice grounds for non-judgmental listening. And maybe the ultimate victory isn't just winning, but learning to love the process itself, finding joy in the journey, whatever destination you might reach.
And your commitment to your own development, your own inner game, it's a profound gift to others, too. That inner transformation, it naturally radiates outward. It positively influences your relationships, your work, your community.
That's a great point.
Self-one, that inner critic, it never completely disappears.
Yeah.
But you develop this kind of friendly supervision over it. You acknowledge its concerns, but you don't let it drive the car.
Right. It's in the passenger seat, maybe giving directions sometimes, but not steering.
Exactly. And self, too, that innate sacred self, it just grows stronger with trust and practice.
And here's maybe a final provocative thought for you. The more you develop mastery, the more you become aware of how much there is yet to learn. And that's not discouraging. It's actually a gift of endless possibility. It means life never has to become boring. Wonder is always available. So maybe choose just one principle from our chat today to commit to practicing. Find your own court for practice in your daily life and connect with others on this journey. Be patient, be compassionate with yourself.
Because self, too, is not just your best self in a performance sense. It's your innate, magnificent self. You are capable of far, far more than you probably imagine when you simply learn to get out of your own way and allow that true potential to shine through. The inner game ultimately is about remembering your own innate brilliance.